I don't know what happened here. I didn't try to hit play, but this is Sports for Real with Coach Hall. I trying to get organized here. As always, we run a little bit behind. So, all right, Sports for Real with Coach Hall. Started a little bit earlier than I wanted to, but at the same time, I'm running late, so I'm going to try to make this quick. Got to go to work as always. As you know, the conference championship games take place this weekend, and that is going to put us in a position to see which 12 teams are going to make the first college football playoffs. And as you look at the latest rankings, it gives some people reason to question what's really going on here. Let's go down the list of the rankings first. Number one, you have Oregon. There's Texas, Penn State at 3, Notre Dame at 4, Georgia at 5, Tennessee at 6, Ohio State 7, SMU 8, Indiana 9, Boise State 10, Alabama 11, and Arizona State 12. Let me stop right there. Now, of these 12 teams, 4 of them, they're going to be playing against each other. In the Big Ten, you got Oregon taking on Penn State. That is a 1 versus 3 matchup. And then in the SEC, you have Texas and Georgia going at it, which is a 2 and 5 matchup. As you know, SMU, they're in the ACC, and they're going to be taking on Clemson, and they're ranked number 8. And at number 11, you have Alabama, and then Arizona State is at 12. Now, if the higher seeds win this weekend, this is probably going to be your college football playoff participants, except for Alabama. Why? Alabama is ranked number 11, but they've got 3 losses. Remember, they're going to take the top 5. Well, the 4 conference champions with the highest ranking is going to get home, get a bye, and then the 5th place team, the 5th conference champion, is going to get a home playoff game. So the way it looks right now, assuming these seeds hold, Oregon, Texas, Penn State, and Notre Dame are going to get byes, and then that will lead Boise State will get the 5th conference champion, and they will get a home game. Now that will eliminate Alabama because they lost 3 games, and Tennessee is sitting there with 2 games. But the fun really begins if you start to have upsets. Because, well, let me backtrack a little bit. I said Boise State would be number 5. Well, you have the Big 12 sitting here, and that is Arizona State taking on Iowa State. Oh, you as a fossil. What are you? All right. Just saying I hate black. Man, I don't have time for that. So just looking at this, the controversy begins if you're going to have some upsets. I don't think Penn State's going to beat Oregon, but I do think that Texas is going to beat Georgia. So still no upset there. Notre Dame, they won, 11 straight games since they got upset. So they are going to be set there for a bye. But if Georgia was to somehow get by Texas, that would probably just flip-flop those two. So I don't see any change in the top 5 here. But I still think that Georgia, with their 2 losses already, put them in peril. They can't afford to lose this game. I know Joe Tessitore, he just said that during the game, all throughout the broadcast of the Georgia Tech game, that if they won and simply got to the conference championship, they were automatically guaranteed to make the playoffs, and I don't think that's true. Georgia still has 2 losses, and if they were to somehow lose to Texas, even though they beat Texas, that would give them 3. And if you remember last year, Georgia was undefeated all the way up to the conference championship when they lost to Alabama. They got left out of the playoffs. Yes, there's more teams, but it's still just as tight to get into the playoffs as an at-large as it was last year. So I think if Georgia loses, that opens the door for a team like Alabama. Further in the mix, if Arizona State was to lose to Iowa State, then it really gets interesting. I think that will put in Indiana. Indiana sit there in a good position because they lost to Ohio State. I think that Indiana and Ohio State would get in if you have any upsets in these conference championship games. But whoever gets in beyond the top 5, there's going to be some major controversy. And it just goes to prove the point that it doesn't matter how many teams you have in the playoffs. If it was 99, team number 100 is going to have a gripe. And that's what's going to happen with this college playoff. And if there's no upsets, then it'll be less of a controversy. But when people start to get picked off, like they've been happening all year long, it's going to be major problems about this time next week. But I'm waiting to see it just like everybody else. All right, let me look at some of these comments. I told you shouldn't smoke that blunt earlier. You look Chinese. Yeah, I've heard I look Chinese, but, I don't worry about that. Your dog only says Sierra Parcel, Joe Rod. Okay, I don't know what that means. Sir, want money for urgent, please send me 500 rupees. I need 500 rupees myself, so you send me some and I'll send you some. That's pretty much all I have. And I think that what's going to happen is you're going to have SMU is going to knock off Clemson for the ACC. I think Arizona State is the best team in the Big 12. They're going to win that conference. I'm going with Oregon over Penn State, Texas over Georgia, and what do you do with Ohio State and Tennessee? I don't think Alabama has a pair because of that, but the problem is they're so highly ranked, and the teams behind them have multiple losses. I just don't see how the top 12 is going to change a whole lot. Now, Tennessee's sitting there at 10-2. They're in great shape just above Ohio State. And because of that, I just think that Indiana might be the oddball team out because Penn State, they're going to get in, and so will Arizona State. Boise State's going to get in. And I just think it's just going to get pretty wild from this point on. But as always, those college football playoff spots are always tenuous, and it comes down to who has the most pull. And Georgia has been the hottest team over the last couple of years. Even if they lost the third, they probably will still get in just because. And but I thought that last year too, and they proved me wrong. This guy did it hold at YAP. Okay. Tennessee, Ohio State, SMU. So who do you guys think should be in the playoffs? Who do you think is the number 1 seed? Do you think Oregon is really the number 1 seed, or are they worthy of a bye? Now, if you look at these conference races, you see that a lot of newcomers are in position to win the conference in their first year. Oregon just came to the Big Ten. They could win. So can Texas in the SEC. SMU is a newcomer to the ACC, and Arizona State is a newcomer to the Big 12. And that just lets you know that all these programs over the years who claim that they're the best, but they don't never play anybody, now you're seeing what's taking place. Yes, the SEC is still strong and they're picking people off, but a lot of teams from other conferences are affiliated with older conferences. They're competing just as well with the SEC. And I think that would be the case if the SEC teams would step off the porch more and had played more teams. But the problem is they will play teams that they're supposed to beat, and they ring up this ridiculous record like they're invincible. That wasn't the case. Maybe the team at the top might have been invincible, but not the average team in the SEC. They were no different than anybody else. And now with the way the games are shaking out now, with all these newcomers going to these different conferences, you're seeing just what I've been saying for years. All these conferences are set up alike. You got 2 or 3 teams at the top, 2 or 3 at the bottom, and the rest are in the middle. And if you put all these conferences in the bag and shake them up and have what you have now with these new conference affiliations, you're seeing just what I've been saying. But I couldn't tell you that. I couldn't prove it to you again until things like this start to take place. I see my boy Christopher Bristol again. I open up, I see you. Well, that's the best thing you're going to see all day. Not nice for you? Well, it must be because you keep chiming in and bothering me, man. I'm not bothering you, man. Why don't you go ahead and subscribe and send a like Yeah, hit my cash out, man, because I know you're a big fan. You just won't admit it. But I appreciate you dropping in, Mr. Bristol, even though, you tripping, but that's all right. It's good to wake me up early in the morning. So, Chris, you tell me, who the best team in college football, man? Get off my account. Well, I'll tell you what. Let me take a picture of this so I can report you a dumbass. I don't care what you think about me, son. But you just like the rest of them. But anyway, it's going to be very interesting to see how this college football thing shakes out. And why don't you watch college football, Chris? It's a high drama right now. And a lot of people are greatly interested in to see how this college football playoff shakes out. And I'm definitely one of them. So who do you think? You say you don't watch it, so I can't ask you that. But, the rest of you people out there, I appreciate you chiming in. Cricket and hockey. Well, I can take hockey, but cricket? Come on, man. Were you from England somewhere? We don't watch that kind of stuff over here in the United States. Your name's fuck, grown-ass men reporting people. No, what's feminine is somebody like you chiming into an account when nobody can see who you are. I'm in Jacksonville, Florida. Look me up, come find me, and you say what you're saying right here. And let's see who's the coward. You are, not me. Chump. So you can say what you want to say, but fine. You're Jamaican cricketers, I think. Okay, I understand. But that's still tied to England. But it's not so popular on this part of the world. But just to recap, I think that these 12 teams in the college football playoffs, it's not going to change a whole lot unless you have some major upsets. And if you're looking at possible upsets, maybe Iowa State can compete with Arizona State. But I don't see SMU losing to Clemson. And I think Oregon's going to get Penn State. And I think this time around Texas is going to knock off Georgia. But if that does happen, that's going to create a lot of controversy because that will push Georgia back to 3 losses. And even though they lost to Texas in the conference championship, I think it's going to happen that they're going to get pushed out of there. And then the controversy is going to come is who's going to replace Georgia in this top 12. Do me a favor, hold this for me. I'll collect it back for the next year. All right, Chris, you have a good day, man. But anyway, I just think that some people are going to get snubbed. And, you're looking at Colorado. They're ranked number 23 right now, and they got 3 losses, and people are trying to figure out why. But you too, man. I don't know why they upset about that ranking. If you look at the teams ahead of them, that's about where Colorado should be. So I don't see what the controversy is there. But when you start talking about Indiana and Ohio State, it comes down to splitting hairs about who deserves to be in the championship. And what they should do is probably have a lower tier championship because they don't want Boise State in this playoff in the first place. All right, whatever, man. All right. So anyway, this has been Sports for Real. Hope you guys have a great day wherever you are in the world. And when I get some more updates about this college football and what's going to take place from that point on, I will chime in with some more information on that. So until then, you guys have a great day. I got to go to work. I'm out.